Good afternoon. Welcome to Baldwin Wallace University. It is afternoon. I came from Scottsdale though, so it's about 10 o'clock there, and I just looked, it's 60 degrees, sunny blue sky, so a little bit different. I'm Lee Thomas. I'm the chair of the board of directors of trustees of Baldwin Wallace University. I am the first of the two Lees who will speak today. We've already had a couple group texts going to the wrong Lee, so that was fun, interesting. It's more to come, I guess. So it's great, President's Day. What a great occasion, because we are welcoming our 10th president of Baldwin Wallace to campus today on President's Day. How appropriate. The appointment is critical for many reasons, but most importantly, because BW is at a defining moment. Over the past year and a half, we've worked relentlessly to reach this point. We confronted a daunting task, a daunting deficit, and though the work to balance the budget isn't quite over yet, we've made tremendous progress cutting down that mountain and bringing us closer to the light ahead. Many of you in here, with your work and dedication, yes, your sacrifices, have played a vital role in moving us forward. Today, we will begin writing the next chapter in BW's nearly 180-year history. This story includes many defining moments that have changed the trajectory of this university. These moments have tested us, but they have also seen BW rise to the challenge and exceed. Baldwin Institute officially became Baldwin Wallace College in 1914. This change signified the institution's broadening mission and its commitment to providing a well-rounded education, including arts, sciences, and professional programs. But that time was not without its problems, and many questioned the future of the school. For example, who knows the name of BW's second president? Anybody? I don't see any hands. Albert Boynton Storms, president from 1918 to 1933. Just 4 years after the merger, President Storms arrived in BW when it was a fledgling college made up of Baldwin Institute and German Wallace College. And in much disarray, Storms, I guess appropriate name, 15 years at Baldwin Wallace were marked with phenomenal change and stormy times. He oversaw a change towards centralized enrollment management, the establishment of the endowment, the establishment of core liberal arts courses, and a growth in faculty for both liberal arts and professional programs. To his credit, we weathered a storm of changes when our college might have failed without his dedication. BW has never lost its spirit. Today, we still draw talented and eager people who make our mission their own and reflect our values. You can see it in the classrooms, on our stages, and in our fields. Our instructors, coaches, counselors, groundspeople, and everyone here who works to move this institution forward. Our energy draws students to become part of the BW story, and in return, we change their lives forever and send them on a trajectory that gives them successful and meaningful careers and lives. It is fitting that today is President's Day, not just for the nation, but for us here on this campus. Lee Fisher's appointment follows a comprehensive national search supported by Russell Reynolds Associates and spearheaded by a committee of trustees, faculty, and staff. The committee was chaired by trustee Paul Clark. This team worked for nearly 8 months and reviewed dozens of candidates from across the country. We need to give our thanks to all those who were part of the search team and those who participated in the final interviews. If you were one of those people, please stand so we can give you some applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our next president brings to BW an exceptional background of leadership in both public service and higher education. He served as a member of the Ohio House of Representatives and the Ohio Senate, and he served as chair of the Cuyahoga County Legislative Delegation. He was Ohio's 44th Attorney General and 64th Lieutenant Governor. As president and CEO of the national organization CEOs for Cities, he spoke nationwide about the value of a college degree. He also has served on a private college board of trustees. In 2022, Fisher was inducted into the Cleveland Magazine Business Hall of Fame for his decades-long work on Ohio regional and state economic development. He has been counsel and partner with the Cleveland-based law firm Hahn Lozier and served as president and CEO of the Centers for Families and Children. He is a podcast host, newspaper and magazine columnist, television and radio commentator, and frequently delivers public speech. He is coming to us as the Dean of the Cleveland State University College of Law. But, he's finally made the right choice by selecting BW after getting his undergraduate degree from Oberlin College and a law degree and master's in nonprofit organization from Case Western. No further ado, President Fisher.
Well, good afternoon, Baldwin Wallace. Thank you for that incredibly warm welcome. It really is an honor to be with you as this university's 10th president. For me, this is actually an honor of a lifetime. I want to thank Lee Thomas, because Lee didn't just give me a warm introduction, he's given me a warm welcome. And his leadership of the board has been nothing short of extraordinary. Lee, you've been a courageous and a creative leader, and I'm looking forward to partnering with you and the entire board. And I also want to thank interim president Greg Flanagan. He also has been and is an outstanding leader. I'm going to continue to serve as dean of Cleveland State University's law school until June 30th because I keep my commitments. And I look forward to joining you as 10th president on July 1. But until then, Greg is your president. And we already are and will continue to work very closely during this transition. I've traveled to every corner of Ohio. I've spoken on the campuses of most of Ohio's colleges and universities. I have spent most of my career in Northeast Ohio. And Peggy and I, my wife, who you'll hear from in a few minutes, raised our family from Northeast Ohio. I'm an East Sider, she's a West Sider, but now we're both West Siders. I've always known Baldwin Wallace, where I have had the pleasure of being a number of times speaking primarily to pre-law students as a crown jewel. And now I get the honor of working with you at this crown jewel. It's a very special place. I don't have to tell you that, you know it, you chose it. And now I chose it as well. I'm excited to work with you to take this great university to an even higher level of excellence and impact. Wherever I've worked, I've started by knowing what I don't know. I start by listening to you. I don't come in with answers, I come in with lots of questions. I want you to tell me what works. I want you to tell me how we strengthen our strengths. I want you to tell me what we should do better, and I want you to tell me what we should do differently. And most of all, I just want you to be honest with me as I will be with you. Wherever I worked, I've also done something else. I've built teams. Teams of people who trust each other with a foundation of trust. That's the key. Because as important as strategy is, culture is much more important. In fact, that's why I chose BW, because you are known far and wide for your culture. I've also never been afraid to address challenges head on, and we have them, not unlike most colleges and universities, facing the demographic cliff and the emerging technologies. All those things are not new just to Baldwin Wallace, they're new to all colleges and universities. But I've also, in addition to addressing those challenges, helped build a vision where we can see our future, and to build a better and brighter future with a shared vision and mission and strategy. And I can't wait to do that with all of you. This place is very special, and I think fair to say I already see it in our students, and our students always will be, for you and me, our North Star. That's why we're here. Financial stability, strength, and sustainability, that's a means to an end. But the end is our students and their success, not only while they're at Baldwin Wallace, but lifelong success. I see it in the faculty, many of whom are here today. Your expertise and your dedication, not just to teaching, but to nurturing the intellectual and personal growth of every student is awesome, and it inspires me and will continue to. And I see it in the staff, who often presidents work with even more closely on a day-to-day basis than the faculty, who often, quite frankly, are underappreciated, but they won't be with me, because I believe that staff in some ways are the foundation that makes everything else work and move forward. And of course, I see it in our Board of Trustees and our alumni. I honestly didn't know how many people I knew were BW alums until last Monday. And my phone's been ringing off the hook. I've been getting texts and emails, people saying to me, "Hey, Lee, I'm a BW alum." And I responded to them, "Then I'll be calling you soon and asking for something." But they're used to me asking for things, and usually I have a pretty successful response. You're amazing people who bring a shared commitment to creating something bigger than ourselves. A commitment to being better, not just for today, but for the future. Now, I'm here today, as I mentioned, with my wife, Peggy, who served for 18 years until August 31st of last year as the president and CEO of the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio. We will have been married 45 years as of March 2nd, and I've asked Peggy to say, thank you. No matter how many years we've been married, you probably would have applauded, but I appreciate that. I've asked Peggy to say a few words, but if you know Peggy, that's actually not true. She insisted on saying a few words, because when BW chose me, you actually chose both of us, 2 for 1. We have been and we always have been a team. So I'd like to introduce to you my wife, to say a few words, and then I'll come back up after that, Peggy Zone Fisher.
Well, thank you. Okay. Are you able to hear me? Because this is not, oh, there you go. See, we're a team. I can't do anything about it. Thank you so much for this warm welcome. I have felt it all day today, but I have felt it also leading up to today. First, let me set the record straight. Lee and I dated for 5 years before we got married. So I count March 2nd as our 50th anniversary because I believe in counting time served, right? I want credit for those 5 years. Anyway, today means a lot to Lee and me. You don't know, but I am one of 9 children raised by parents who did not just embrace each child. We were brought together and taught together to embrace our entire neighborhood as our larger family. Both parents of mine served in Cleveland City Council for a total of 21 years, and that's Michael Zone and Mary Zone, both my parents. And it wasn't unusual for us to have people from the neighborhood at our doorstep in our home almost every night, and most evenings just asking for advice and help and maybe a meal. This was the way that I was raised. But given that, and I want to be really clear that we're not necessarily inviting all of you to our home every day and evening, but my point is this, that it's already very clear to us that Baldwin BW is a special place where everyone is treated as a member of the BW family. And I can't thank you again enough for welcoming us into the BW home. I truly look forward to working with you and celebrating all of your successes as our successes as we move forward. Thank you, and I know I'm going to be doing lots of things with so many of you, so I'm here for you. Thank you. I'll turn it back to you.
I want to spend a few minutes talking about our future. This is a university with a rich history and a strong foundation and an unwavering set of core values. But you know that the world of higher education is changing. It's changing fast. And the challenges that we face, whether it's advancing technology, shifting economic pressures, the evolving needs of our students, the demographic cliff, that all requires us to rethink how we work, how we teach, and how we serve our communities. I want to tell you a short story about Peggy's remarkable parents, who taught me a valuable lesson about how to think about the future. What Peggy didn't tell you is that her parents were married in December 1944, and the wedding picture has Mike in his Army uniform. Within days of their wedding, he went off to fight overseas in World War II. And then, just about a month and a half later, there was a nightmare that Peggy's parents faced. Mike was captured as a prisoner of war in the Battle of the Bulge. And all of a sudden, Mary's future turned upside down, and she thought she might never see her husband, who she'd only married 3 months earlier, again. Mike was eventually liberated from prisoner of war camp in the spring of 1945. And when he came back home, opened a grocery store on the near west side of Cleveland, and then eventually ran for Cleveland City Council, he never talked about the experience. His children would always ask, "Dad, tell us about it." And he said, "No, you can read about it in the history books. I'm focused on the present. I'm focused on the future." Mike Zone unfortunately died in 1974 of a heart attack because his heart had been weakened as a prisoner of war. But he was an inspiration, not just to his children, but to the entire neighborhood. And one day, not long after Peggy and I started dating, we went to her mother, my mother-in-law, Mary Zone, and said, "Tell us, did he ever talk about that time?" And she said, "Well, I have better than that. she pulled out of the closet the diary that Mike Zone kept as a prisoner of war, and believe it or not, he never shared it with his children, only with his wife, Mary. Well, all 9 children and I sat down to read this remarkable book, still to this day, probably the most inspiring, remarkable book I've ever read, even though it's a diary. 2 things jump out from the pages. One were the names of the 9 children he would someday raise, and he kept his word. He raised 9 children, one of whom was Peggy. And the other was that Mike Zone was an Italian who loved to eat pasta, but he had no idea how to cook it. Yet all throughout the diary are these intricate pasta recipes. Recipes from a man who did not know how to cook, but when he came back home and was liberated, Mary, who was a wonderful cook, looked at those recipes and said, "That's pretty good." And Mike still didn't know how to cook when he came back home. So we figured out, after reading that diary, how Mike Zone survived when younger men, stronger men, smarter men did not. The way he survived is he could see beyond the cruelty of the guards. He could see beyond the barbed wire. He could see something that other men could not see, and that was his future. When I served as Attorney General, I went to every one of Ohio's prisons, and I met young men and women who had no sense of their future. They came from neighborhoods that were tougher than the prisons in which they were incarcerated. For them, it was day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month survival. The thought of ever attending Baldwin Wallace was the furthest thing from their minds. But it taught me how to see the future. If you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. And Mike Zone and my experiences afterwards have told me that the greatest gift we can give any human being, or for that matter, a family, a city, a community, even a nation, but let's focus primarily on a human being, is the ability to see their own future. Every single one of you today, including me and those of us on stage, are facing problems in our lives. It may be emotional, it may be physical, it may be financial, but every single one of us, there's no exception. Some of us are having trouble, not me at the moment, having trouble concentrating because you're thinking about that text that you may be getting soon, or that call you may be getting soon about someone you love who has a problem. Now extend that to our students. Every single one of them are in the same situation. They're here for a reason, but they are distracted often, as any human being would be, by their own individual problems, the things that are in front of them. Our obligation, all of us, is to help them see beyond those problems on any given day or week or month and help them to see their future. And when they see their future, it's not just about walking on this stage or any other stage and getting a diploma. That's part of it, but it's not just that. Because all of us are committed to their success, not just here at Baldwin Wallace, but when they leave Baldwin Wallace, lifelong. Yellow jackets for life, right? I love that phrase, because that really is what it's all about. So, our challenges pale in comparison to Mike Zone, or to those men and women that I visited in Ohio's prisons. But the one thing we have in common is that our attitude will determine our altitude. It starts with that. It doesn't end with it, but it does start with it. Knowing that we will get through tough financial challenges, as painful as it may be, both in the past and the present and the future, but knowing that we have our eye on that North Star, that's how you get through these challenges, and I faced them at every job that I've ever had. It means changing the way we do things, embracing innovation and flexibility, staying grounded in our values, integrity, civil discourse, inclusivity, and creating opportunities for everyone. And it's not just about keeping up with the times, it's about leading the way. I recognize that this transformation will continue to take hard work. You won't hear happy talk from me. I'll be transparent. I will always have a positive attitude, but it will be realistic optimism. In other words, understanding that we've got challenges we have to get through and around. But I also believe that you can do two things at the same time. You can live within your means and still invest in what matters. You cannot cut your way to prosperity. That can only be done by both living within your means and investing in your strengths. You have to do both. And we will. Your dedication and your effort and your unwavering belief in the mission of BW has built the foundation on which we are going to continue to build. And what you've done so far has been remarkable. And I thank you for that, because it makes my job a little bit easier because of the hard work that the faculty, staff, and board and alumni have already done, even though, as Lee Thomas said, it does continue. So that's why I'm here today, to invite all of you to do this with me together, to build a team with a sense of optimism, with a sense that our attitude is going to determine the altitude. I started this morning on this stage speaking to our admitted students and their parents who were in this theater. And I asked them to start with me this fall. I told them, I'm an admitted president. In fact, I'm sort of like them. Although I've already made my choice, I still haven't started yet. And I said, join me and let's start together this summer. Let's start also with the belief that the challenges ahead are really opportunities. Opportunities for growth, learning, and transformation. I am positive, I repeat, I am positive, that we can and we will make BW a place where innovation thrives, where each person's potential, not just our students, but all of our potential, is nurtured every day, and where we don't just change the way we work, we educate students who will change the world. I can't wait to get started, and I thank you again for the honor of a lifetime to be your 10th president. Thank you.
President Fisher, Peggy, welcome to BW. I'm an alum who has spent most of my career here, and now I have the honor of serving as interim president. I could speak for hours on what makes BW such an amazing place, but there's one quality that has never failed us: we care. We care about what happens in our work every day. We care about our students and our alumni, and we care about each other. That's why when we make some changes, it impacts us. We care what happens. We have the opportunity to speak several times during the hiring process, and it became evident to me and to us that you both also care. You care that what we do is right. You care about quality, and that our work reflects that. You're one of us now, and we care about you and your family, and that in your work as president, you will be successful. You have the entire BW community behind you working together, supporting our students, delivering a quality experience, but most of all, caring. Over the next months, you'll meet more of the BW community. But today, I would like to invite a few people to the stage to welcome you and Peggy to our campus. I'd like to start by inviting Kent Cleland, who's our Faculty Senate President, to the stage to welcome you on behalf of our faculty. Kent?
Lee and Peggy, I'd like to take a minute to introduce you to the people with whom you'll be working during your time here, who will turn out to be the source of many of the stories that you will put into your toolbox when going out on fundraising trips, and I'm, of course, talking about our faculty. I've heard it said that we at BW are particularly able to teach our students about character because we have so many of them on our faculty. But the things that I think about when I think about our colleagues on the faculty are, first, an impressive expertise in their areas. Second, an unparalleled ability to draw the best out of our students. And third, a deep and abiding love for our students, our vocations, and most of all, this institution. People come here to teach, and they stay for decades, not only because the institution gives us the joy of seeing our students excel beyond their expectations, but as importantly, because this institution has a way of bringing out the best in us as teachers and scholars. You will soon be working with an extraordinarily gifted and dedicated group of people who want you to succeed, because your success means success for all of us. We will learn about and from each other, and if we do the work that we all want to do, we will find that we have brought out the best in each other. So a common trope that is found in literature is the giving of gifts to one who is about to embark on an epic journey. These gifts are often found to be useful during times of trouble. They aid, sustain, and enhance the hero's innate qualities to enable them to overcome the dangers that lie in their paths. In that spirit, I offer to you from the faculty the following. First, BW Professor Indira Gay Singh's excellent history of John Baldwin and this institution, so that you can understand how we came to be who we are today. And second, Neil Maliki's reflections on BW. Neil occupied the office that you will soon be in, and in many ways his philosophies and approach toward life still significantly inform the ethos of this place. I hope you will use these to learn about who we are and how you can encourage us to exceed what we believe we are capable of doing. And oh, by the way, as a colleague once said to me, an unquizzed book is an unread book. Expect a quiz this fall. Lee and Peggy, on behalf of the faculty of Baldwin Wallace University, welcome to your new home.
I got so comfortable there, I forgot I had to come back up. Thank you, Kent. We know you and Peggy have worked with and know our alumni in politics, those leading corporations and nonprofits, in schools, health systems, in law, and in public service. Representing more than 55,000 BW alumni worldwide, Madeline Wallace, class of 2016, and our Alumni Engagement Director has a welcome for you. Madeline.
Thank you so much, Greg. President Fisher and Peggy, on behalf of our nearly 55,000 alumni, welcome to the Baldwin Wallace family. Today, you are surrounded by the YG for All spirit, the Yellow Jacket for Life spirit, which connects us to one another through shared experiences, strengthened by time, and cemented in the deep-rooted camaraderie and traditions of BW. As you join this family, know that you will always be embraced by the support and spirit of our loyal alumni. In this same spirit, I am honored to present to you a 1913-1914 Grindstone yearbook, the first yearbook of the newly merged Baldwin Wallace College. Just as the merger brought together Baldwin Institute and German Wallace College, we believe the merging of your family and the BW community will forge yet another link that binds BW's historic past, inspiring present, and promising future. We hope this gift serves as a constant reminder of our alumni whose ties to BW are far more than just shared histories. They are the threads in a remarkable tapestry of connections that have woven us all into the fabric of Baldwin Wallace. We are excited to bear witness to your family's impact on BW and the contributions you will weave into the remarkable future that lies ahead for all of us, our students and our alumni. Welcome once again to the BW family, President Fisher and Peggy.
Thank you, Maddie. A big part of BW are the amazing teams that wear brown and gold. And I have the honor of saying I got to be part of one of those teams during my tenure as a student here. Steve Thompson, athletic director, is representing our Fighting Yellow Jackets. Steve?
Greg, you're like 6'4", like move it up for me. President Fisher, Mrs. Fisher, good afternoon. On behalf of our 750 plus student athletes, our coaches and staff, welcome to Yellow Jacket Nation. Right? I got a woohoo up there. Let's do it up. Let's do it up. BW Athletics is built on a relentless pursuit of excellence on the field, in the classroom, and in life. Our student athletes compete with passion, discipline, and an unyielding drive to be the very best. They embrace adversity, push their limits, and take pride in wearing the brown and gold. To that end, I just want to tell a little bit of what's gone on since you've accepted the president position and the high bar we're setting for you guys. This past weekend, we hosted the OAC Championship for swimming, and Laura Demeline, our coach, and her staff was named Coaching Staff of the Year in the OAC. Coach Gibbs and his staff and the wrestling team clinched their 5th straight OAC Wrestling Championship and are ranked 5th nationally as they prepare for the regional tournament. And our women's basketball program also ranked 5th, led by Sherry Hare and her staff, who is now the OAC winningest coach in both men and women's basketball, lead and won the OAC championship. I'm wildly competitive by nature, so as much as I want to talk about that, our student athletes also succeed in the classroom, where we finished the first semester with above a 3.0 GPA, and every one of our teams had above a 3.0, including our women's basketball team leading the GPA with a 3.8 grade point average. So as you take the helm, BW Athletics is ready to rise to the challenge and look forward to helping push the university and our athletic department to new heights. Welcome to Yellow Jacket Nation, and if you want to come up, I have a small gift for each of you, because I think this is always important. It's time for you guys to wear the brown and gold.
Thank you, Steve. And last but not least, at the core of our mission is the experience we give our students. Representing our students today is Dr. Lena Crane, Dean of Students.
You know, in representing our students, they should first be noted for their academic dedication. Ideally, we would have had student leaders here, but as we contacted them, many are in class, one taking an exam, one presenting to their peers, and so that's why I represent their vibrant, varied voices today. To ensure that I do, I ask students to answer 2 questions. I asked them first to describe themselves in one word so that President Fisher and Peggy might learn more about them. Students described themselves as hustling, first gen, athletic, jubilant, entrepreneur, unsure, leader, and determined. BW students are why we are here. They are talented, resilient, and looking for us to guide them. To that end, I asked them also to describe their hopes for our new president in one word, so we might understand their expectations. They said, to be present, stable, leader, compassionate, calm through the storm, not one word. Communicative, wise, role model, also not one word, but it's a big job. One of my favorite student traditions is the Ring of Ribbons. Since 1915, each class has added ribbons of their class color at convocation, commencement, and their golden class reunion. The result is a beautiful symbol of who came before us and of what is yet to come, tying us together. On behalf of BW students, I present you with a symbolic gift of lengths of the ribbons of the current classes. Welcome to BW. We are so glad you're here.
Thank you, Lena. President Fisher officially begins this July. Until then, we will continue to provide him and Peggy with an orientation to BW so that he and the first-year class of 2029 can start together on their amazing BW experience. Thank you for attending today, and please rise as we end with the alma mater and then join the Fishers in the lobby for light refreshments.